Oh, it looks like it came up pretty fast. Hi, everyone. If you're watching a recording, do fast forward 2 minutes. Getting everything up and running. Looks like Twitch is connected. See what everything else is going on here. Okay. You ready, babe? Hmm? Mm. Make sure I have plenty of solder going on here. Ears are all popping today. I don't know why. It's so annoying when that happens, I have to say. Ugh. Anyway, okay, so it's a minute till. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Andy's ready. I'm ready. Let's jump into this. What? Halloween? Happy Halloween. It had passed. I found, and yeah, nothing happening here. No one came knocking at the door. That's because no one comes to our neighborhood. There's only a couple houses on this house, so why would you ever come here? It's funny because I had a neighbor say, "Hey, you put out candy." I'm like, why? Nobody ever comes up our street. So no. And no, we didn't buy candy to consume it ourselves either. We're being very good about sugar these days. So that's our story. Hope everybody had fun. No weird Halloween stuff going on. So the full moon was what, more than 10 days ago, so it couldn't have been that either if you had something weird going on. But okay, so I'm just rambling because I can. It's Monday, November 1st. Can you believe it? November. Geez. Does that mean Christmas is like 6 weeks away? 5 weeks away? Oh my gosh. Anyway, that's just totally crazy. This year is almost over. Are we happy about that? I don't know. But I am looking forward to 2022. Slowly but surely getting that schedule up so we can look forward to a lot of different things. We're moving along here for next year. So today is Start from Scrap, a series that's been going on. How many have we done now? 4 projects, I think. So 4 weeks now of what can you do with all of your scrap material. It was a conversation that had come up a couple of times, and this is my pursuit in using up all my scrap. Sort of interesting. I always think I have a lot of scrap, but I really don't. You know, as I'm sitting down making these projects, I'm going, gee, I don't think I have that much scrap. But in any case, so what are we doing? I seem to be on a ring kick. We out of 4 projects, I believe I already made 3 rings, and so we're going to go for a 4th. But trust me, I have other things going on or coming up other than rings, at least I hope. This one, over the weekend, I was doing some work and making a project and went, you know what? This would be really cool. And it's also something that something that I saw that I found inspiration from. And, you know, I wanted to touch on that for a second here, that inspiration comes from everywhere. It doesn't mean, I mean, you know, everybody expects you to just pull things out of your ears, and it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes you do, you know, I do wake up in the middle of the night or wake up in the morning and I have an idea. But most of the time, you know, you're looking at things, inspiration from other designers or even in nature or wherever, whatever environment that you're in, and you're drawing that in to create something or to be creative with what you see. So for me, my inspiration today actually came from this ring that I've been looking at for a really long time. And I'm going to share it because I have no shame about this one. So I've been looking at this ring for quite a while, and it's just, I don't know why, but I think this ring is really cool. Don't know who made it, saw it on Pinterest. It keeps popping up on my feed, and it's like, wow, that's really cool. So from this ring, I'm drawing inspiration to make this next project with my scrap. So let's jump into it. Okay, oops, before I start, what do you need? You're gonna need a ring mandrel, a leather mallet, A cutter. Where'd my cutters go? Anyway, a bench block is a good thing, and a cutter, some files, a soldering setup, because of course we are soldering today. A lot of soldering today. Well, I think I walked away with my cutter, so, oh, here's another one. We'll just use this one. We'll use our tungsten cutter. Do you guys know about these? Maybe we should talk about these for a second. So these are tungsten lined in the blade so that you can cut things like piano wire. Yep, these can actually cut piano wire. They're really great so that you don't ruin your regular cutters. You know, it's funny, I was talking to somebody, and you know, I talk about these bad boys a lot. These are the Kiba cutters. They cut really, really heavy metal. I think it's down to 10 gauge is what it cuts. But if you put steel to it, you will ruin the blade. And indeed, I did. Even though my piece of steel wire was all of, I think, 24 gauge, it still ruined these. So that was it. Done. I will never do it again. And I am now on to the tungsten so that when I do have something peculiar like steel or piano wire, I'm just going to use these. But we do have these on the website too if you need to have that backup pair. But what we were talking about this is with this other person is they're like, I just use my heavy duty cutters. It'll be fine. I'm like, yeah, might want to think twice about it. As heavy duty as it is, it's still not meant for steel. Steel is a completely different animal altogether. Oh, sorry, they're not tungsten. They're carbide. They're carbide. Okay, so that's what's on the website. Okay, so those are the tools that you're going to need. What I have here, let's zoom in a little bit. We all have this in our scrap metal, right? We all have these little pieces in our scrap bucket. And I was like, well, what can we do with this? Last time with all these pieces, we made a ring with all the pieces going horizontally. This time, we're going to make a ring with the pieces going vertically. And I pretty much chose square and round wire for this one. For this one, I'm going to do all the above. So I did go through, pick all these pieces out, and you know, I started flattening some of these pieces. If it has a bend like this, you see that? That little tiny bit of a bend or something like this, go ahead and put it on a bench block and straighten them out because you want it to have a really nice flat surface for soldering. So let's flatten out a couple pieces here. And here's another thing I like to do. When I flatten pieces like this out, I always put the convex side coming up. It makes it easier for this to flatten out instead of putting the convex side down. Okay, there we go, nice and flat. I have a variety of square wire, round wire, bead wire, even some twisted wire. Again, just all little pieces of scrap that was at the bottom of my scrap box. So additionally, you know, you can do this two ways. You can go ahead and just line this up and solder it all, but that actually is the harder way to do it. So I'm going to do it the easy way. I'm going to go ahead and solder it onto a base. This is a piece of scrap bezel wire. Yeah, I saved this stuff. Just go with it, right? And you can tell it was scrap because this was at one point bent to be a square bezel, but I cut it short and I couldn't use it. So I have since flattened it out. You know, I'm going to flatten this out just a little bit more. We are simulcasting today on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and on my personal page and the Q Talk page. So if you are on my personal page, do jump over to my the Q Talk page. I just posted because I forgot, thanks to a friend, I just remembered to post the November schedule. So a couple things going on in November, sort of excited about it. Okay, so I'm just going to line up the bezel wire, and I'm going to use it as a base. it wasn't quite long enough. I need about 2¼ inches to get to the size that I want to get to. So there's actually a second piece here that I'm using. And I'm not even gonna solder this together ahead of time. I'm gonna solder it together all in one shot because that's the kind of girl I am. We all know this. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a healthy amount of solder on that joint, like so that it makes a good connection. So even with your bezel wire, you can save the scrap and do something with it. But hey, as much as I say that, I can't guarantee this project is going to come out because I just don't know if it's going to come out. So now I'm just going to put a little tiny bit of heat on here, and I'm going to lay down a bunch of solder. And when I say a bunch of solder, I mean a bunch of solder, because there's lots of nooks and crannies and gaps for this that needs to come together to make this happen. So I put heat down, not enough heat to help this sort of grab the solder. My solder's a little dry, so I'm going to give it a little bit more heat. Again, what I'm doing is I'm helping the solder grab onto this back plate. See that? So that I don't have to fight it, but I'm still fighting it today. Huh. Yeeks. Hello, solder. Maybe I'm just being a little too timid. Okay. I'm telling you, it's a ton of solder today because I want it to be everywhere. Okay. You know how I always say don't spread it like peanut butter? It's peanut butter today. I know, what do I have against peanut butter? Maybe I should say don't spread it like jam. Okay, I'm going to put one down here so it doesn't come apart again like it has been. So now I'm just going to start placing all of these wires, just like so, right across the top. Without much thought. And yeah, it's going to take me a hot minute here. So, you know, if you want to go grab that cup of coffee, now's a good time to do it. Or a smoke, you know, whatever you're into. And I'm just grabbing all these little pieces and placing it on. Let's zoom out just a little bit. Am I really caring about what I'm doing? Not really. So another thing about this design too is how you want the edges, right? If you want them nice and even, meaning this top and bottom, we're just going to cut it off later. We don't have to think about it right now. So I thought about using wire, but decided not to because I feel like if I use wire solder and stick solder this, what's going to happen is once I get it in there, I'm just going to move these little pieces. So I'm choosing to use paste so that I don't have to worry about it moving all over the place. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to build up enough width to create that about 2 1/4 inch worth of length. I know, as much as I say that I'm being haphazard about this, am I really being, is it ever like truly organic? Not so much in this world. Yikes. Okay. I even have a piece of half round wire here. But this is lots of little scrap pieces along the way. And I like my bead wire. It's just sort of fun. There we go, squish it all together. Again, tweezers are my friend. So for those of you who have who participated in virtually ever crafting, you can still purchase the extended view on the recordings. If you had 10 or more classes, shorts included, you got automatic extended viewing, and you'll get that link here when the first round expires. So if you've been lollygagging and haven't been watching your videos, you still have time. No panic. So 2 comments out there. One, you can leave it flat and make a pendant. Yes, this could be really cool. It could also be really cool as a pair of earrings. I wouldn't go this long, but you can totally make it into a pair of earrings. And someone also commented that you could sweat solder this. Absolutely, you could sweat solder this. So for those of you who joined us this weekend to make bagels, sounds like you guys are still enjoying your bagels out there, which is pretty cool. Makes me pretty happy that you're eating the bagels. We had fun. It was just something completely different and a break from the norm, right? You can't live by jewelry alone. Oh, did I say that? Okay, so here in a second, I'm just squeezing these on and pushing them together so they're nice and tight, like so. I'm going to pull out my ruler and see how far I've gotten. Oh, hey, I made it. All right, one more for good measure because I can and I have it. And I'm pushing, I don't know if you can see it, I'm pushing on the side, that's the base, just to make sure it makes that connection underneath. And I'm sort of pushing all these down to make sure that they are flat to that bezel wire. And of course, you know, you can use whatever you want for the base. You can even take out copper and put it in there if copper doesn't bother you. Okay, there's a part of me that says, oh, I can't see that anyway. Oh! Oh! Son of a gun. See, that's my bad. I wanted to make sure that it was together on the bottom, but I couldn't see it anyway. And this is what has happened. Oh. Yes, this would be a really cool bracelet, actually. So maybe it's going to be a lot more scrap, because this is a lot of it. Marcy only has one more day of bagels left. Well, it's a good thing you know how to make it and how easy it was, right? Okay, I lost one piece down here. And Jamie, another Jamie out there. Haven't seen you forever. Hope all is well. Say hello to Mr. Chris for us. Wishing him well. Apparently Titus is snoring upstairs. Okay, we're almost there. This piece, now all of a sudden because I screwed up, doesn't want to go flat. There it is. Okay. Okay. I'm hoping that bezel wire is straight underneath, but let's go ahead and solder this. Hopefully I put enough solder on and the pieces won't fall off. It's going to take a minute. Okay, it's a lot of metal, so a lot of good heat here. Okay, we are to heat the whole thing, of course, and then we're going to start at one end, get it nice and hot. I've got my solder pick here. Just to make sure things, sort of went sideways. Yeah, I'm gonna stop for a second. So did you see with my little pushing and prodding, this sort of right here, right there, it fell, it's not straight anymore. So I'm gonna have to straighten that out. There we go. There we go. Okay. There it goes. All right. So you can start see. I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but it is starting to flow there. Let's see if I get this end flowing. Actually, let's see if I can get this guy to move because he moved way out of position. Good. Yay. Checking, see if everything is in. Soldering together. Gonna push this guy together a little bit more here too. There we go. Good. Yippee. So I was pushing it together because I don't want any gaps. Because you know those gaps later is going to present sort of a weak spot. So at least I assume. Okay. Pray to the solder gods. That's a lot of pieces. Let's see, how do we do back here? It's a little wonky back here. I get a feeling that's not together. I might have to pull that apart and see. Yep, see? Not together. So I'm going to turn it this way. Put it back on. And we're going to just go ahead and solder that right now. I'm not even going to pickle it. Because, you know, paste solder is a bit more forgiving. Give it a little bit of heat because I quenched it so that we can get the solder to grab. I think this ring is going to be very cool. Very excited about it. Again, a ton of solder. Because I want that to be absolutely secure. What? The Twitch? So thanks for resubscribing on the Twitch. Really appreciate it. This is how we get paid. So if you are on Twitch, don't forget to resubscribe. It doesn't do it automatically. I know it's a little weird, a little funky, but hey, it's helpful to us and it's free to you. Oh, you know, this could be a really cool pendant. I just dig that. Okay. So, hi to everybody who's out there who hasn't joined us before. Thanks for swinging in. We're about to get the reveal. But it seems like all the pieces are on, so I'm pretty excited. So, you know, what's sort of cool about this too is if you had copper, gold, I know, gold. I'm making you laugh, right? Or brass, or brass scrap. You can totally put it in there. It's a little unexpected, and you can make it a tricolor or a two-color, whatever that you like, and you can put it to use. It's sort of just a fun little, you know, ring, right? Just a fun little ring. Okay, let's check the pickle. Almost. Not quite. Give me another second here. I have now lost my copper tongs. I think when I did the wash today, I left it with the sink. Oops. Okay. So the thing is, I didn't take the time out to sand and file any of the edges. If you wanted to have a jagged edge, you do want to do that before you lay it down because it's going to be really hard to do after it's been all soldered together. And so if you wanted that organic, eclectic look with the jagged sides, that's one way to go about it. But you really want to think about sanding and filing those ends before soldering it down. It's just going to take a lot more effort to sand and file that after they're together. So question is, would I add granules to this or would it be too much? I don't see why not. You know, it could be a lot of fun. You know, those ancient granules that I like so much, ancient bronze grain that I like so much. I think it'd be fun to add just a couple pieces here and there, but how cool is that piece? Huh. Now I'm really thinking twice about where I want to go with this, because see, on a ring, that could be really great. But again, what you would do is you would want to file and sand it. You know what? I'm going to keep moving. Yeah, let's just go with this. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, actually, I'm going to take a second. I'm going to get up and I'm going to cut it. There's a lot of different on my bench shear, but of course you can go ahead and just sit here and snip it like so with those bad boys. Now you have more scrap. And oh, I lost one. Better check those. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to have to resolder that one. So you can snip it to create a straight line for yourself, but I think what I'll do is I'll end up putting this on the bench shear. It'll be faster than sitting here watching me do all this. But let's solder this back on first. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and cut it and make it nice and parallel. As I was thinking through this project, I was thinking, you know, another thing I could do too is you could create a frame for this ring so that it sort of locks it in and gives it a less organic look, a little bit more of a refined look. I'm telling you, it's really hard for me to do organic. Okay, so now I had some hard solder that I started with. So now I'm just going to go with some medium solder because I'm going to save that easy solder so that I can solder the ends together without these pieces falling apart. So we heat the whole thing one more time. And so see if we can get that one piece to go. Remember, it's silver, so I always heat everything first. Bye, Jamie. Hugs to Chris. Okay. You did it. Let's pray that it did. I think so. Throw it in. Take a look. Oh, yeah. Okay. We're going to pickle that one more time. And then we're going to cut it. I'm going to put it on the shear. Like I said, you can take out your cutters and just snip it down the line, make sure it's nice and straight, and then we're going to file it, sand it, and then we'll bend it, bring it all together. Maybe not in that order, but something like that. Okay, so getting rid of my scrap here. Right back into the bin, the silver bin. A little bit longer on that. Okay. So what else is coming up in November? Don't forget, we have put a little jingle in it. We're going to make sleigh bells. I know. It's just sort of fun. Why would you? Because you could. And that is going to be live. You can buy a kit or you can not buy a kit and just watch later. But the kits are available at theurbanbeater.com. We also have Scarf It Up. So this is a penannular, or otherwise known as a brooch, for your scarves as we get ready for the winter. So we have that going on. Kits are going pretty fast, so we have moved on to CZs is what's available for the stones at this point. That also is on theurbanbeater.com. That's going to be our Zoom for November, and then we head into Thanksgiving, and then I am running away to Vienna, which I'm pretty excited about. Okay, there we are. Okay. I'll be right back. Give me just a second. Yeah. Give me a second. I'm going to go cut and come right back. Okie dokie. There we go. Okay, coming back. Oops. Sorry. There we are. So here we are. It's pretty close. I'm pretty happy with how straight it is, and as I was cutting it on the bench shear, I was thinking, sawing probably would have been a better idea. So if you don't have a bench shear, I probably saw it. All right, let's bend it. Always start small. Yes, I always make a 7. So I'm going to start here. So we're going to start with a 6 and bend it around. Ooh, that broke. And see. Aha, I feel another piece that just broke. All right, so can already see a problem here. Right there, you see that? That's a break. That's not good. I felt it break here and here. So I'm actually going to bend this back and do this one more time. Let's zoom out because I've created weak spots. Now remember, these projects have not been pre-tested. We are just doing this very fluidly to see what happens. And here's the problem, okay? If you don't have solder in between all of these pieces, they're all going to be weak spots. So I'm going to go back and let's solder it. Let's put solder in there. Yep. So I'm flattening it back out, taking a good look at it to see where all I need to add solder. Now I'm going to go to wire solder. It'll be easier to detect where I need to put it and just put it right down. So again, give me just a second here. Didn't think I was going to have to do that, but lesson learned, right? Be right back. I'm going to go grab some wire solder. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and jump into easy. I want this to happen very, very quickly. It's going to take quite a bit of solder to do this. I'm going to flood it. Pretty much I'm going to flood it is what I'm going to do. So we're going to cut a healthy amount of solder out. And we'll go ahead and put some flux on here. Okay. And let's heat said flux. It's coming closer. Ooh, opposite direction there. So I'm just going to heat everything really well. Good amount of heat. When the flux starts turning to crystal, that's when you know that you can go ahead and touch this. So I'm just putting a little solder everywhere right now. Especially between all these wires. See how it's grabbing right in there? Okay. See, it took quite a bit of solder. Good. Especially this joint here was very problematic because that was where the break was. Okay, need a little tiny bit more solder. So I see some spots here. I could use a little bit more help. There we go. And I'm trying to get it in between each wire. So the first round got it down. The first round got it down to the base. So this round is getting it soldered to each other on the sides. Okay, little pick here, little pick soldering, teeny bit of solder there. I do still see some spots. Okay, so I am going to go back with even more solder. Hey, nobody said this was going to be perfect, did I? It was just looking really fun. I should have gone with the pendant. It would have been done already. I know. Tis what it is. Drawing it through. This one's still my problem child, I can tell. Okay, let's see where we go now. So maybe you shouldn't use a piece of scrap for the base. It's a little challenging. Okay, let's bend it first before we throw it back in the pickle. Oh yeah, she's solid now. Way solid. Still didn't like that weak spot. Still not being happy with me. And I still have another weak spot over here. That's okay. I'm gonna keep moving and force the issue. Okay, let's see. Push it down. Wow, I don't think I made enough. Okay, so right here, this one doesn't want to bend. So let's see, is this too big? I think this is too big. I'm gonna pull out my okay, so this is my bow closing plier. Oh, I just broke it. Manhandled. Absolutely manhandled. Oh yeah. Totally manhandled that. But I'm going to snip this off anyway. And I'm going to snip this off. Let's put it together. So, you know, as I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, so there's a bit of a gap. You can see that. You could go ahead and solder it and put another piece of wire there. Do I want to do that? Probably not. Let's just snip it off. Close. And see if we can get that to solder together. So what I'm thinking right now, my size is close. What I'm thinking right now is I'm going to go ahead and solder the ends together, and that will help the shape, keep the shape. Let's file this end here. I want that to be a bit cleaner. Like so. Let's push that together. And let's pull out some nylon nose pliers. There we go. Okay, it's close. Can you see how it springs back a little bit? It's a bit of a gap, and you could probably see on the inside there, that's a bit of a gap. That's not gonna solder together unless I'm gonna need to file that. No amount of solder is gonna get that together. I know a lot of people like to fill their joints with solder. I only do that out of desperation or need. So here, what this is needing, because this is the round surface of the bead wire, is causing that to not come together nicely. So I'm just gonna file that flat and see if I can get that to come together. Much better. Okay. Okay. This is where you could use the bow closing pliers, but this is presenting such a problem that I'm doing this by hand. I don't want to cause any more problems than I already have. Whoops. Okay, let's look at the back. It still has a gap, but it is much better. Trying to get nice and even back there. Not as easy as I thought it was going to be. Can I use the bezel clamp? No, cannot use the bezel clamp on this, and I'll tell you why. It is too, it's too hard. It's not, this is too much tension for it. Okay, so it's not really together on the back side, but based on what I'm seeing here, it is together on the front side. So let's try soldering that front, okay? I'm gonna go with pumice. We'll reshape this after and pray. There's gonna be a lot of praying today, let me just say. Woo! Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. Okay, flux. Whatever kind of flux you like. So, a couple hazards here. Perhaps you should make a pair of earrings or or a pendant. That's an easy way to go. If you want to make a ring, yes, you do need to solder those sides together. That's a ton of solder. Going with it. Come on, baby. Let's solder for me. We're getting there. It's now become a pretty big piece of metal. There we go. Okay. Let's hope that it actually soldered in between. It flowed. Hopefully it flowed where I wanted it to flow. Let's put this back on the mandrel and see what happens here. Okay, feeling sort of good. So the thing is, by going ahead and soldering the joint together. I'm giving it leverage, right? It's all about leverage. Okay, so I'm trying to shape it, and I'm pushing it down as I'm going. It doesn't want to shape some of these because I've created some weak spots. Let's see if that weak spot is my joint. Meaning where that is actually not my weak spot. Okay, so what is my weak spot here? This is just a gap. So yeah, lots and lots of solder. Okay. So I'm going to try pushing it down this way. Broke it open. Not good, but still going with it to see if I can get it to round up. It's getting better. It's definitely getting better. Okay, sorry? So the question is, would this do better on a step mandrel? You know, that's a good idea. Probably. Maybe. Okay, so where it broke was, so remember when I put it into the bow closing pliers and I heard that pop? That became a weak spot, okay? And I can tell there's another weak spot right here. So, you know, so now it becomes a challenge, or the effort is going to be fixing these weak spots, finding the other ones before you create any more problems. Yeah, I know. Good luck with that. Let me know how it goes, right? Okay, so let me see. It's an adjustable ring, someone said. So that's great. Yes, exactly. Wait, where is my... Oh, there it is. Yeah, I'm fixing the wrong joint. How you like that? Okay. Let's bring that together. We're going to solder that. Okay, so there is a gap here. Can you see that? I'm going to throw this in the pickle, and I'm going to find another piece of wire. We're going to go ahead and fill that so that we don't have a weak spot again. And we'll solder that at the same time. Hopefully this piece of scrap will work. Let me look around and see what other scrap pieces I have running around. Because I get a feeling we're going to have to fill a lot of these little areas with wire. I may or may not be successful in finding the right pieces of scrap. What happened to my tweezers? There we go. So we'll grab some pieces out. I'm sure you're too big, I don't even bother. Yeah, I have this weird feeling that I'm gonna need little pieces of wire like so. We have that piece. I know there's another piece stuck in my pickle. All right, let's see what's going on here. Pull this out of the pickle. One little piece of wire stuck on the bottom of my strainer. There we are. This one didn't want to clean up, but we'll make him clean up. I don't know why you didn't clean up, so weird. Okay. So let's see, we are going ahead and fixing the brake. There's my brake. So my brake is right there. Yep. That's just going to get solder. I have an opening here. Let's see what's going to fit there. Nope. Yes. You gonna fit? I'm gonna squeeze it in there. So we'll solder those two areas at the same time. Okay. Cutter. So I'm going to cut it down just a little bit, but still give myself a little room to margin for air, because the problem is it's too long on one side, and balancing it would be easier just to trim that. That's why I trimmed it. I have to keep track of where my break is. Okay, so my break is right there. I'm going to solder this guy down. We'll put flux on it again. Cut it in half and make it into earrings. Give it up already. I get it. I know. No, I can't. I'm determined. 3 hours later, I'm still sitting here, right? We're going to do this today. We are. It's a good teaching moment here. How do you fix this stuff? This is how we fix this stuff. But I have to say, if it's a good idea, they make it into a pair of earrings. It could be like a little half cuff. Remember that? Do we still wear those? From the 90s? I think we still do. Okay, that filled up nicely. Okay, there's that. There we go. I know you're on. I'm gonna hit you like that anyway. Okay. Whew. Yeah, I hold my breath through this stuff. Per suggestion. You know, I gotta round it up before I put it on the step mandrel. Just a little bit. So I'm just working it, trying to get it to shape for me. Okay, so the step mandrel is not being my friend, so we'll go back to the tapered mandrel. It's coming. I think it's coming. Better. Right? Little by little. Be patient. The problem is that every time you hit one, another weak spot pops up. And that's why it's not rounding out, because the weak spots are just sort of puckering, right? So you got to address that and see what is up. Yeah. Okay, I'm ouching because that extra wire I put in there poked me. So let me trim it off. So why do I allow that to go, right? Why would I allow it to go? Okay. I need a smaller mandrel, which is over there. It's close. This is just really close. But you get the point. Okay, so I have this one spot here. Do you see that? That keeps puckering up. So what am I going to do? Okay, so I have one here and one here. I'm going to put a piece of wire in there and see if that will help. All right, so now we are trying to problem solve. Okay, so I have, that's a nice small piece of wire that should fit right in there. And where's the other spot? The other spot is right here. Let's do that one first. There's already solder. I can see the solder is sitting right there. So I'm just going to heat it up and see if I can get that solder to flow without adding any more. And hopefully that will keep that one from puckering again. All we're trying to do is create stability. So I'm heating around it because that wire is still sitting up a little bit, hoping that it's going to suck right in to that area. It didn't nest right in there because the solder hasn't flowed and it's sort of sitting above before the solder flows. And you know what? It's looking like it wants to melt. So I'm going to pull it off again and see if I can get the solder really close, really hot first, the ring really hot first, so that I don't melt this tiny little piece of wire to get this going. So we're going to heat that first and then gently lay it right back down, hopefully right as it flows like that. Yeah, baby. That's how you do it. All right, so we're going to go over here. Since the ring is already hot, I don't want to have to keep reheating this stuff. So put some flux on there. Grab another piece of wire. Hopefully this is not solder. Oop. Hopefully it's wire. That's not mixed into. Okay, so I'm filling gaps. Okay, that's solder. Ah! Ah! How did I know it was solder? It broke really quickly. I know that's solder. Okay, I gotta grab another piece of scrap here. Might be heading into the regular stock. You gotta do what you gotta do at this point. Nope, too big. Okay, there we are. That's a piece of wire. Can you guys see that? It's a little far, sorry. Let's bring it in a little closer. You can see what's actually going on here. So that last piece of what I thought was wire was actually solder. And it broke right on there. You can see that tiny little piece right here. The ring is still nice and hot. I'm just going to go ahead and heat it and see if I can get it to flow. And then I'm going to place this wire right in between there. Again, addressing my weak spots. I'm not putting this wire in yet because it is so small and so thin. I'm afraid that it's going to melt before it solders. Come on, almost. I'm guessing that's hard solder, son of a gun. on, baby. Now I feel like I'm talking to the puppy. Oh, man. Oh. There we go. There it is. Solder for me. Yes. Ooh. I lifted it. Good. I lifted it right when it soldered, and it was too, so it was still soft. So I had to reheat it and put it back down. Okay. Okay. There it is. Let's trim it. Okay. Pray again to the solder gods. Let's see where it goes. Okay, so I'm looking for where it's puckering and trying to understand why. It could also be that some of these pieces are flat, might be a little too wide to be able to bend and give it that nice round shape. But you know what? I am really close compared to where I was. You can see that. And we're going to go this way. And we're going to hit that bottom side again. Okay, so this ring is going to be like a 5.5. Anybody out there a 5.5? Raise your hand, we'll send it to you. Because what else am I going to do with this ring since I can't wear it? Way too small. Yeah, no way. Look at that. Okay. I am going to call that a success. I don't think I can get it any more round than I've already gotten it, because some of these spots, okay, so let's talk about where this went wrong. Where I went wrong was, you can see like right here, I have like 3 flat pieces together. Okay, so it in essence made just like a sheet of metal when they all got soldered together, so they're not bending, so you can see that flat area here. Here was a weak spot that sort of came together, and again some flat areas had those flat wires. Okay, but where do we go from here? So I have jagged edges. Again, initially my thought was, you know, that I would leave those irregular edges like you saw earlier before I trimmed it. Would have been a lot of fun, right? But decided that this would go, it would just take, well, frankly, decided that it was going to take way too much time to sit there and sand and file each one of these ends, because you need it to be nice and soft if you're going to wear it, unless you're giving it to that mother-in-law you don't like, you know. So that's why I went ahead and decided to trim it so that I could just get it flat. You could sand or you could solder 2 more rings to lock this in, and you can imagine how that would look. Actually, we'll just put one up. So you see, if you put it in there, that would be a really cool ring too, right? So I'm just sanding this on a very abrasive piece of sandpaper. So this is 150 grit sandpaper, just to get this done really, really, really quickly. And then I'll switch out and I'll start gritting it down, gritting it up, to get that nice smooth edge. Yeah, see, it's nice and flat now. We'll do the other side real quick. And this is going to be a really, really great piece to do I need to put some patina on, because then you'll just show all of those, all of the texture that's in it. Okay. When I start sanding this way, you know, it's because I'm in a hurry. So from here, what you would do, I have some nice sharp edges on here. So I would take a file, excuse me, take a file and file it and give it a bevel. Okay. So what am I going to do at this point? You know what? I'm going to do a to be continued because we're already 8 minutes over. I'm going to do a to be continued. I'm going to finish this up in, I think next week I was going to do a thing on on cutters. I think I might change it up and finish this one out, but this became a really heavy piece. So let's finish it next week. And I'm seriously thinking, as I'm just sitting here thinking about this, about putting on a rim onto this, because I think it'll look really cool. Yeah. Let's do that. Okay. All right. That's it. Decision made. I'm going to make this a two-parter. So what is happening this week? On Wednesday, I think I'm going to start Amy's second project or finish up her first project, whatever it is that we're doing. And then on Friday, I'm on the road, so nothing going on Friday. I'll be back on Monday. We're going to do a tour of Studio 36. It's the redo. Remember the one that was a complete disaster where she asked me to delete it? Yeah, we're going to try to redo that on Monday, and I'll be back again next Wednesday. I don't know. Well, actually next Wednesday is going to be demo day on cutters. Lots of travel for me in the next couple of weeks, so we're sort of hit or miss. This Wednesday is also Wine on Wednesday. If you want to join us, believe it or not, it is the first Wednesday of the month already. We are back, and so let's get together and show off all of our virtually ever crafting projects. That'll be fun for Wednesday if you want to join. Okay. That said, it's Monday. Have a great week. It's beautiful outside here in sunny Ohio, and it's not cold. So, try to go out there and enjoy what's out there. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in and sharing all of our videos. We'll see you on Wednesday. And we appreciate the resubscriptions, of course, on Twitch. cool, huh? It would have been really, you're right, the pendant would have been really cool. I don't know why I felt committed to do it as a ring. Should have, I should have just gone with your suggestion and we call it good. To an extent, you still have, because my edges were really rough somehow. Uh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I've been waiting for this phone call. I apologize. I have to call you back. Bye. Hello. How are you? I just finished my live, and I just tried to use some solder that, or a piece of wire that turned out to be solder. I'm like, God damn it! Because I'm doing a series on scrap, what to do with your scrap, and so so I'm digging through my scrap. What do you think I have in there? And and it's funny because when I looked at it, I was like, looks like a piece of solder, but I'm gonna go with it. But hey, it's fine because okay, so I'm gonna send you a picture of what I did with all my scrap. I'm pretty excited about this ring. It's like, oh, it was a challenge, but anyway. So how was your weekend? Wow, good for you. Where was this? Oh, good. Wow. Good, 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 good. Very cool. Very cool. That's fantastic. Yeah. So I used all scrap material because you have like half-inch scrap running around of wire, right? That's all you need are half-inch pieces, and then you trim it down. Yeah, I did. I did. And if you watch the video, you'll understand where the failings went. If you actually think this is cool and want to go down this road, you want to watch the video because you'll see because you'll see all the mistakes that were made. Because I had to solder it like 4 times. Yeah. Which again, the thing is, this is the series is very fluid. I've never made any of this before. They all know that. It's like, we're going to try. We're going to see what's going to happen, as we go. And you're going to get over it if it fails because it's free, I did it for free, but it's also an opportunity to figure out how you're going to fix it. It's like, how are we fixing this? I don't know. Let's see. It's, it could make for a good time and it could make for a really stressful day. And exactly. Exactly. Anyway, so a couple of things. One, I need to withdraw my invitation to Tucson to you. Um, I love that you're just like, okay, sure. I don't even know if it was a really viable thing for you either, so. and then you got busy. Yeah. Our puppy play date. Oh, oh God. Oh, yeah. But the other part of that, did you read the other text that I had sent that wasn't meant for you? Did you find that a little bit disturbing?